computer. Okay. So a very good afternoon to all of you and a warm welcome. Thank you to all present here for making the time to be a part of this learning space, and wherein together we can unpack and understand the competency, maintaining presence. So I'll just start with sharing my screen. Okay. Akanksha, is it okay? Are you able to see the screen?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, so competency 5, that is maintains presence. Before I go ahead, big thank you to Jaya for including this facilitation presentation in our PCC program, and I'm really grateful for that. And the reason why I say grateful is because though I have attended many core competency sessions, but when I was preparing for this session and sitting with that one competency, I felt that I could deep dive into that competency and understand it better, and also have a connect with my coaching sessions, as in how am I demonstrating this particular competency. Also, thank you to Abhyudaya team, Akanksha, helping in coordinating and organizing, and really appreciate your efforts, Akanksha. Thank you so much. Okay, so before I go ahead, let me just take you through the agenda or the flow of the session, in which we'll be first talking about presence. What does presence mean? Then we'll understand that coaching presence, how is it taken up in ICF, and how this coaching presence is a powerful thing that we all can do. We'll discuss the PCC markers and also understand that what can be the barriers when I'm into a session, what can be the barriers that can be stopping me to not be present, and also the ways to cultivate coaching presence, right? If I have your permission, all of you, may I just initiate the session with 2 lines of a song, if it is okay with all of you. Yeah, Akanksha.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. And after the song, we would like to go ahead with understanding what is presence. Okay. दुनिया जिसे कहते हैं जादू का खिलौना है, दुनिया जिसे कहते हैं जादू का खिलौना है, मिल जाए तो मिट्टी है, खो जाए तो सोना है, दुनिया दुनिया जिसे कहते हैं जादू का खिलौना है. Thank you for permitting me, and so how present are you feeling right now? Anyone? Bharti, welcome.
That was such a lovely song. Thank you for the beautiful opening. Really enjoyed. So I wasn't really too present, as you know, the situation here at my end. But I think your song made me feel completely into the session immediately. The moment I actually heard you sing, I came.
Okay, okay. So, how was your internal experience when you were listening to this song? Akanksha, any inputs?
I mean, it was very soothing, Renu, first of all. I actually didn't know that you had this talent. So thank you for sharing this. And I mean, yes, I'm feeling like really nice, soothing, calm. And especially your voice was like very soothing. So thank you. Thank you so much for this moment.
So, what you felt inside, that calm within, that stillness within, when you are in connection with the other person, that is what we call presence.
Okay.
When we are not thinking about anything happening around, or even within ourselves, what is going on, and you are just in the moment, I think that is what we call presence. Bharti, if you can just share what was coming in your way to be present here.
So Renu, there is a lot happening at my end right now. I have around 6 people in my house. So and not the best of place that I would like to take a session on presence, with a lot of disturbance at my end. So certainly I'm not mentally also, even though physically I'm moving around and I'm trying to be available for the session as much as possible, not to miss what you are sharing so beautifully. However, yes, that's not what I will even, it won't even closely map up to what presence would be really. Yeah.
So as Bharti shares that a lot of things happening around, so it can be in our environment, it can be within us, that will stop of our being present to the other person. So when I talk about presence, it is a felt experience, stillness, timelessness, and connectedness. And before we enter into the realm of coaching presence, I would like to just share with you that presence is also, when we talk about outside the coaching realm, it's a validation of a human connection. It is about presence in our relationships. When I am with my partner, when I am with my kids, when I am with my family, how am I present? What is the connection that I'm having with the people around me? How am I feeling within? That will help me to connect and be the better, having the better output out of that relationship. And this is also about our presence to our work, our presence to the project that is on hand, our presence to my work that I am involved in. So presence is a felt experience. It's nothing about doing something actually. It is about being. At times we say that it's not always about doing, it's also about not doing at times. So if I just take a simple example, when I talk about a dish and it has salt in it, and if a dish, when the salt is not present in it, I think we can easily find out the difference just by being absent. I know what is missing here. So presence can be understood in reference to what is absent. So we will continue from here, and let's go into the realm of coaching and understand what coaching presence means. Welcome, Rajesh. A very good afternoon. Yeah. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. Thank you, Renu. Thank you. Welcome. Good afternoon to you.
So, if I talk about coaching presence, as per the ICF definition, it says the coach is fully conscious and present with the client. Now, when I shared with you about that presence in the earlier part of the session, how do we relate when I am as a coach present with the client? Any thoughts on this from you?
You're asking, Renu, how do we relate as far as your presence is concerned?
As per the definition, when we say present with the client or we say fully conscious, and as I was sharing about what does presence mean, it is the stillness as I shared, it is the timelessness as I share, and connectedness. So how does that come and syncs with when we are talking about fully conscious and present with the client?
I may not be able to give you exactly the right, I don't know what is the right answer, but for me, the presence is complete when the client really starts sharing the way he would like to share to himself probably or herself probably when nobody's around. So you making your presence felt by being absent,
Yeah.
physically is what the way you said. And that happens when sometimes it so happens that we talk to ourselves. And the clients, when the coaches also talk to, like, the situation where she's talking to herself while you're present there, that time your presence is strongest.
Yeah. Very right. Very right. So when I'm able to be in that space, that coaching space as being, I am there, but I'm not there, right? And inviting the client to that space where they can talk to themselves, as you shared, Rajesh. So that is fully conscious and leaving everything else behind. As in the book I read, Self as Coach, Self as Leader, Pamela McLean, she says, putting everything else on the shelf. That means it's you as an individual, without anything of the past, without anything of the future, being with the client and employing a style that is open. When I say open, I'm really mindful about what is happening. When I say flexible, I just dance in the moment with the client wherever the client is wanting to go, but yes, with the professional element in it, because that also is a part of it. And then grounded, when I say grounded, it is like the calmness which I carry within myself, where I'm not having that self-talk or those narratives of mine are not coming in the way. And I'm just composed and calm and confident. When I say confident, it means that I trust the process. I trust my skills, and also that it's about the client. It's about the client when they are resourceful. As I go through this competency and I worked about it, I felt that it has its roots in humanistic approach, where it says that the Carl Rogers, Maslow, and Nancy Klin, she says that, okay, the coaching is to be client-centered, unconditional positive regard. So when it is all about the client, I should feel that trust in the process. I should just go by. And definitely that comes with practice because it's an ongoing journey. Yeah. So, and if I talk about this definition, what are the indicators that I am showing the behaviors which will resonate with the definition that ICF gives? So we have 6 indicators here in it, where we talk about remains focused, observant. And when I say focus, it is like just in the moment, observant of all the energy shifts that are happening, all the non-verbal clues that are there, the meaning behind the words, I should be just observing. And there is a difference between see and observe. When I'm very, very focused, I think that becomes an observation. When I'm very, very into that, so that becomes observation. And empathetic and responsive. And as you shared, Rajesh, in the beginning, that I understand presence when the client starts feeling that he can share with you, right? And that empathetic connect comes up only when you are present. And the client feels that he's heard, he's seen, and he's also understood. And that there I felt that this competency is also connected to the other competency when we talk about cultivate trust and safety. So when do we share with somebody anything that is open? Only when we trust the other person. And that comes when we are present for that person, maybe to listen, to share and hear and understand. So, and we are not with a script altogether. When I say responsive, it is what comes in that moment that we are talking about is response. Curiosity demonstrates curiosity. This curiosity word I read in so many other places also in the competencies. And I think this is the coaching mindset that I come with when I'm in a state of I don't know anything. It's an open curiosity kind of a thing. Open curiosity refers to like, I don't know and I just want to know. That is what. Willingness to discover with the client and having no apprehensions about the outcome that I'm going to get or my performance, how is that going to be, and being present. Manages one's emotions to stay present with the client. How do I experience myself in the session? Am I able to manage? Because there might be some of the situations that you also have experienced what the client has come with, and it triggers. So how am I able to manage my own emotions when I'm present with the client, and also have the confidence in working with strong client emotions during the coaching process? So it's a co-creation when we talk about. It's a co-creating competency where coach and client both, because I'm not saying anything to the client, but the vibe can reach to the client. If I'm within able to manage, that will help even the client, because it's like two people when come and connect, the brain activity starts synchronizing, and that is the vibe what we put out there. That is what is called to be the confidence. Is comfortable working in a space of not knowing. Because when I say I'm making peace with the mindset that I don't know anything, then it becomes comfortable because I'm at ease. I'll just see what comes up in the next moment and I just respond to that. And create or allows space for silence, pause, or reflection. So this space that we are giving to the client, that will help the client to process their thoughts, their emotions, their feelings. And mostly it happens that we just become a little uncomfortable with silence. No one is speaking, neither client nor you. What's happening? So we just come with the thought that what is going on? And we start having those conversations. At least when I talk about myself, it happened when I started with my ACC journey. It happened very, very naturally that apni performance, that how am I performing? What will be the next question? That silence means, okay, let me just create some question. The next question, maybe that is coming in connect with what the client would say, maybe after silence, what the client comes up with. So giving that space, not only to the client, but to your own self, to calm yourself within, to be present in the moment, redirecting yourself to the session. I think that is what are the indicators that we find in this definition of maintaining presence.
Renu, can I ask a question?
Yeah, please.
So Renu, I wanted to understand more as to, one of the markers, one of the,
Rajesh, I'm not able to hear. Yeah.
coaching the who of the person, the whole person.
Yeah.
Is one of the important aspect of maintaining your presence.
Yeah.
I wanted to understand what is the difference of the whole person and part of the person, if there is any. What is it all about, the whole of the person?
Okay. So when we talk about coaching, when I began with the coaching, what I started understanding was that the client is coming with a situation. It can be a belief, it can be an action, it can be an emotion, whatever. And I just worked around that particular situation, right? Whatever the client comes with, okay? And what can we do about it, right? But when I talk about who of the person, for example, if a client says, I want to have some doables for having cleanliness in my garage, okay? But what is the value? Why does he want that to do? What is the value that he holds, that he wants to get that done, right? So when it comes to your belief, when it comes to how you have been thinking about you, what your value system is, what your strengths are, and why, when I connect that what or the situation with that person, that will help a more transformed kind of a state, I think so, because that will bring a sustainable change. Is it making some sense, Rajesh?
No, I think I like to understand it better. So if you have to ask me a question which addresses the whole of me, can you give me an example? What kind of a question would you ask?
Okay. Bharti, would you like to add first, please?
Thank you so much, Renu. So, Rajesh, as I understand or as I've seen in situations with a client, sometimes the who of the person is when a person is actually talking to you about an issue, but you see that there is a lot more to it through the non-verbal cues that you are able to notice due to your presence. Yeah. For example, I have, there was a case where I was handling a lady who was saying that, she was just worried and concerned because she wasn't being able to practice her craft. She's an interior designer. And it was not because, I mean, they are very affluent. They don't need the money for which she would want to do it. But that's her need to express her creativity. Yes. And in the process, there were two asks in the session. One was, this was what she came with, that I'm not feeling fulfilled. I feel very irritable in the day. And the second thing was that she had a very strained, she was developing, not had, she was developing a strained relationship with her son, who's, a teenager, class 10th and, class 11th, and now preparing for studies abroad. So demanding a lot of her time. Whenever she was talking about non-fulfillment of her craft, you could, I was able to just sense this. Whenever she's talking of the two things, her energy was dipping deliberately, and she kept feeling guilty and using those words of guilt, saying, I'm the mother, and yet when I'm having to work for certain things or give him time, I'm very irritable, and I know that I'm very curt with him. I'm snapping him at times, and I don't know why this is happening. Now, see, these are two different issues. She's coming for not being able to fulfill her need of her creative expression. There's another issue that she's talking about, relationship with the son. But when you start discussing, and you see non-verbal cues, they suddenly and you then ask those questions of the who. Why is it that the relationship? How are these two related? Yes, you would only bring these up when you see some energy changes, when you see the person is in deep thought when she's talking about it. Because as a mother, she was not wanting to say that because my son demands at this time so much time, I'm not able to take out time for what I love doing. That's something we could only bring about when I started asking her questions about her energy, of why is she feeling heavy? Why is the relationship going bad? The issue that she brought to the session was not that. So it was only because you could realize the energy shifts, the non-verbals, and the guilt that she was trying to hide behind good words is what I called looking at the whole person. And that looking at the whole person actually enabled us to come to the conclusion of why the relationship was being spoiled, because she was feeling as if he is the reason why she's not able to fulfill her own desires. So if there's anything through this experience,
It does make sense, Bharti. And thanks for sharing this. I think it gives clarity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Renu.
Okay, so Rajesh, would you like to give your inputs on this?
Okay, my input is that, so what I have understood is, after I asked that question and Bharti's response, is that the who of the person is something that is not being asked by the person. Okay. And it is more about your understanding of the person. And that could probably happen not in the very beginning of a coaching session, but after you know a person, know the background, know about the child, 11th class child trying to. So after you know, after your chemistry session and after a few sessions that you've had, and you know something more, or you can ask directly, is there anything else that is disturbing you? And then it comes up that, yes, my child relationship 11th is not working out very well, whatever. And then you dig deeper and ask those questions. So maintains presence, the coaching of who certainly is very, very important. And it may happen in the second or third session after you know the coach, know the client well, is one of the, side observation that I have.
So if I just add on something to it, Rajesh, that it's only when you break through your own obstacles, when you go deep, right? And in presence only, I would say, when you go to that depth of it, and the and you invite intuition, I think then we are able to come to that who part of the client. Otherwise, maybe that we are just addressing the situations, or we are just because, and I where I am, I think I have still to do a lot in the sense I need to practice this a lot and try to be that way. Because as you asked this question, who, though I understand, right, what that who refers to, because as from ACC, it goes to MCC, we know what the change is, but then it can also be that an ACC has that kind of a polishing within him that he can just address the who there and then. So that is, I would not say the criteria, but yeah, going deep within, just break through those all and going to that well of wisdom that is within you. And each one of us is having that. It's only that we reach there and we get that intuition. We can have that trust in my gut. Okay, whatever. And I'm courageous enough to just bring that to the surface that, okay, this is what I can see and what I observe. And then we can connect from there. So,
Yes,
thank,
Renu.
thank you, Rajesh. Thank you.
So
Thank you.
you are in your MCC journey, Renu?
No, I'm PCC journey, on my PCC journey.
Okay. So I was just between two meetings. I was passing by, so I peeped in, and so okay. All right. Thanks.
Thanks for asking such questions. That helps us too. Like being on a journey, I think I'm learning and getting such things and working on it and trying to understand it better. That really helps. Right?
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
So this is one of my weaknesses, and that's why I asked this question.
Okay, Rajesh. So moving on to the next, and as we have discussed right now, that who, how do we address the who? And this is where lies the power of coaching presence. Because reaching there, having that inner intuition or that inner gut in place, it is a long journey. And but before that also, if you have established that presence, if you are there are many things that can come on the way, which can help you to help your client achieve what they have come for, right? So the first one, it says that we are fully engaged with the client, because presence is like, I'm not having anything else on my mind except my client. So whatever exchange of energy, whatever exchange of conversation that is happening is just that is happening, nothing more than that. And when we all have experienced in our day-to-day lives also that maybe with my partner, maybe with my kids, I do share that kind of a bonding, that kind of a presence that makes my child open up and say anything, that maybe he has done anything wrong, whatever, what they feel that they want to share, they can share easily, because I have given that space to my child to open up. So engaging with the client and foster deep connections. In the beginning, we talked about trust, empathy, safety, and what is it about some people that makes you feel more comfortable and at ease? What makes you easy with some people more?
So Renu, if I may share,
Yeah,
I think
please.
it's the simplicity and the way a person treats you, accepts you fully, and the very word which is so synonymous to coaching presence is being non-judgmental.
Yeah.
So if I'm just wanting a person to be with me at that moment in time, I don't even, I may not even expect any solution to things. If the person is just present enough for me to be able to share what is deep within, and because we are we can talk about the book, More Time to Think. It talks about just being there without any agenda fully is something that I would say makes me most comfortable. And if I'm able to open up with all my vulnerabilities, because I know I'm accepted fully, for me, that makes a lot of difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else would like to share? So as a coach, how I enter into that coaching space, how am I feeling within? That vibe is actually translated into that space, right? And it's a co-creation, as I said. It's like a synergy. It also helps my client to be at ease. So it helps to connect more efficiently with each other, and that too leading to self-awareness, that too leading to creativity, that too leading to confidence that the client would have in me, and then that space, safe and supportive space that I have created for my clients. And as I shared earlier also, that whom can we trust to just open up with all my heart and say anything that comes to me, that is my feelings, my concerns, my emotions. It will be only when I'm able to give that safe space to my client. Listen deeply. When I say deeply, it is with all my senses at work, listening to what they are saying, listening to what they are not saying, and really it would happen only and only if I am present. I will not be able to sense anything if I'm not present there. So to understand my client better, to understand what actually is going through them, we need to be present. And for that, I need to listen. The words, beyond the words, what emotions am I noticing? What energy shifts, as Bharti shared? Energy shifts. There is a dipping of energy. There is elateness. Anything that comes into the scene, that comes into the picture. And how are they experiencing their world? And once I get to understand that, it helps me to ask meaningful questions. I need not to prepare or stack my questions. Okay, I'll ask this first, or I'll ask this, that later after that. It will come naturally to you because you are in the moment. That preparation, that so much of preparation, it is of no use, because maybe what the client is saying, it does not relate to what the question you have thought of. So meaningful questions means that gives some light to the client, and this leads to helping valuable insights to the client. So what the purpose of the coaching session is, that power of the coaching presence that helps to achieve this. Now, as per the markers, coach acts and responds to the whole person of the client. So on my journey, evolving every day, bit by bit, and hope and wish that I'm able to get to that when whole person of the client, as Rajesh stated earlier, it's all about as a complete human being, and not the situation at hand, not the problem that the client has come with. It's something beyond that. It is something which, as a coach, by my presence, I need to discover. I'm having that willingness, I'm having that curiosity, and open curiosity to just go with the client there, to bring to his awareness actually what is the point that they are missing out on. Coach acts and responds to what the client wants to accomplish in the session, as it is like about the what, but with that who, or the whole of the client. partners with the client by supporting the client to choose what happens in the session. As it says, the behavior is, or the characteristic is, that you should be flexible, dance in the moment, respond to what comes in the moment in the session, and demonstrate curiosity to learn more about the client, and allows for silence, pause, or reflection, as already we have discussed about it in the previous slides. But here is where I would like your experiences, because there are many out of them where I have felt myself in. And when I talk about the first one, that is personal distractions, when I started with my ACC journey, it was like performance. Process, first of all, I should know the process. Am I ticking this? Am I ticking this? And then it came to performance mode. Am I doing it right? What should be the right question? What do I ask next? How would my client be feeling? So all these questions going around, that chatter roaming in my mind, which didn't allow me to focus on the client. And as a result, I missed the opportunities many of the times where I could have led my client to really go in a different direction, which I really missed out. Yes, gradually I am getting a handle of it, but any experiences, if you all would like to share, it would be great.
I can very well relate to what you're saying. And this is, I don't think it's unusual. So when we start the coaching journey, all these 4 factors that you're mentioning does play on your mind. And you have your personal distractions and time and etc. And then you are in a pressure to prove a point that because the client has hired you, and if it is not a it's a paid coaching where you have exchanged value in terms of money, then you are in a little bit of a more pressure if you not reached a matured level of coaching. And you let the coach, support the client to take responsibility of what happens in the coaching session. And these are very much, big, usual challenges, and that all of us have faced some time or the other. Especially when I coach SMEs, business owners, etc. And when they have, first of all, they don't understand what coaching is all about. And once you make them understand what coaching is, and if they buy that concept from you and then get into a coaching agreement, after some time they realize that you have been hired because you are an experienced person with so many years of experience in corporate, and I've paid you and I've hired you. Why don't you give me the answer? And then they get frustrated. So that is also one more challenge that coaches face while maintaining presence. The person can speak as much as possible, the who of the person you are addressing, etc. But at one point of time, if you keep on asking questions after questions and giving a perspective, then the coachee, or if this kind of a typical coachee would say, I have told you everything about my life, about my challenges, apprehensions, business problems. I want to know from your experience, what did you do when you got into this kind of situation? Or what is your experience? What should I do today? And then what do you do? Then you ask for permission to put your input, and in a way that it becomes a priority, or it becomes very important for the coachee also to think in those directions. And then you go a little outside the exact ICF way of coaching, little, and then you come back. So those are the challenges, and those are the experiences that I have had.
Yeah, Rajesh, I have yet to get that experience because I come from a teaching background and I've totally shifted a gear, like from teaching to now coaching, and no idea about how the corporate works. And yeah, definitely to just enter into that field and play, yet to maybe see those challenges. But yeah, in the beginning, what I felt was that there are some of the times when the coachee comes with the same thing that you are also experiencing, that you are also going through. Maybe if I say talk about something like not taking care of health, right? So it comes like, what should I tell him, right? Even I'm not doing that. So many things, there are judgments, there are biases, there are my own beliefs that come in between. So these kind of personal distractions that are there. And a sense of responsibility, as you shared, that they have hired you, so return on investment kind of a thing that you need to just give. And if that is not happening, that also creates some kind of a pressure. And time, this I experienced when it was like we were asked to have a session of 45 minutes or so. And now when you see it's going on and on and on, and accountability has not been in place till 5 minutes before the session. So we just rush up with the things. Time, obviously, even paid, maybe it happens definitely. But when I was into the practice of peer coaching and all that, that time also it used to be like, oh, so much of time has gone and now I'm just left with 5 minutes now to wrap up with accountability. It seems like a rush, and it's not that really output of that session has been like coming in picture. And at times our own experiences, like leading the client, we do, okay, let me just take off that coaching hat and maybe a little bit of just sharing with the client, that also we do. So my own life experiences or ideas on what the client should be doing, I just ask them to do that. Bharti, any inputs?
So like Rajesh said, Renu, this is something that we all deal with all the time, and just get better with practice and practice and more practice. So for me, I think the sense of responsibility is something that I had to work with a lot. And I'm still work in progress on this. And this book had been pretty helpful. More time to think, when they say, we just think that we are the experts, and we think that because, like Rajesh shared, that the client has paid you for coaching, and a lot of times we become heavy thinking that this person, I can't keep asking questions. I mean, what is it that, and sometimes you just know the answer. That's where I heard Rajesh also coming from. And you feel, why can't I just tell him what to do? You have that urge. One, because you have that feeling of responsibility because you're being paid. Two, because you feel it's because it is so in your face, right? And you feel it is so obvious, why can't he see it? So those are the urges I have to work on a lot, a lot. I'm sure we'll get there as well. And the second is that I have caught myself leading the client. So again, what you've written in two, sense of responsibility, I feel that all these two are very, very interrelated. Because of that sense of responsibility, sometimes I end up leading the client because I have an idea. And in fact, one case where we were working together, and I was asking the coachee to give me certain examples, and she was not coming there. And it was completely on my tongue, and I did mention and gave her an example of saying, what about this? And that was leading the client, right? So of course we are, and that came from the sense of responsibility of taking them somewhere. But of course, I'm sure with a lot more practice than what we still have, we will be able to be 100% totally present with the client.
So
Thank you.
yeah, Bharti.
Very-
So we are not the experts. So that if I keep, and if I just believe that it's coach's life, and it is, who better would know about their life than them. So if we just keep that practicing and just keeping that as a reminder, it's the coachee who is the expert of his own life, because my experience may not fit into what he wants to achieve, right? So that is also there, but that reminder always to be on track. Yeah.
So Bharti, on your observation, if I may just add, Renu,
Yeah.
is that I was also struggling for a, you know for a long time about, if you know the bench is wet, why can't you tell the client that the bench is wet? And so that Bharti mentioned, you give a obvious thing that's in the blind spot. But then I spoke with a lot of expert, very good coaches, including Jaya, and I have realized now that, see, if it's a matter of life and death, if there's a fire, and then you ask for permission, that can I add value, can I say something, and it's absolutely fine. And I've researched the ICF interpretations also, and it is okay. However, if you've reached a very high level of maturity in coaching, then you need not, but it's very difficult to reach there, and all of us are in that journey. So all of us are learning how to reach there, and that's why. So Renu, on that note, I have a 1 o'clock session 1 minute from now, so I'm logging off with your permission.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you for being in the session and adding value, because I feel that I've always been a learner, and you as experts help us to just move ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Renu. Thank you, Bharti. Bye-bye. See you sometime.
Bye. Bye. Okay. So we come to the end of the session, and we talk about ways to cultivate. And the first one, that is, get out of your own way, because it's my own narratives. It's how I experiencing myself in the session that only comes in my way. And when I am out of my way, I can allow the client to be in that space and express themselves, share them, whatever comes to their mind, and they can be themselves. So first is getting out of your own way. Become comfortable with not knowing. As Bharti, you said that I don't know. That is what I should always remember, or I should say that I am not the expert, the client is, and be surprised with what the client can come up with, keeping that silence, that pause, and giving that space, being comfortable with that silence. Let the client process, and let's see what may come next. So that is what we need to be comfortable with. Let go of your need to achieve the client's outcome of a successful session. So as responsibility, we feel that, okay, so I have to help the client, but it's not like that. It's always the client's life. They know better, they have the solutions, and they know what the outcome of a successful session means to them. It may not be having any transformation in one session. It may happen in the second, it may happen in the third, but as coaches, we should not just take up the agenda in our hands, and we should not have that need that client should achieve that outcome, and be okay with silence. So when I say be okay with silence, it is like letting the client be there with himself, with herself, thinking about, processing in that stillness. They have come to you after just looking at all the possibilities they had, but they could not. But now when you see here that they are here, and in that silence, that stillness, they are able to explore answers for them. And nothing more than ongoing reflective practice. Seeing my own recorded sessions, observing where did I go wrong, or what I could have done better, or how I could have done differently, how I would have enhanced my presence there. So this is what I can do as a coach in improving, in going better with being in the session. So this is all about the session. Bharti, anything that you would like to share?
No, Renu, I think you have really taken us 360-degree through this. It's a complete full circle through the competency, from why we need to do that, how we will do that, what are the challenges, and then what do you do to make sure that your presence. And so my 2 pence in this is exactly the same. Like you said, it's only by practice.
Yeah.
It's only when you start catching yourself. For me, I always say awareness before choices, and that's my ABC. The moment I am aware, I will then make a choice of the change that is required.
Yeah.
Thank you. Wonderful presentation, Renu. It was very useful.
Thank you, Bharti, for being there and chiming in as and when it was required and you felt like doing it. And I really appreciate being there till the end of the session. Thank you so much. Thank you. So I'll just stop the recording, Bharti. Okay.